So, Hallihallo, Hallöchen. Hier zu diesem kleinen, spontanen, abendlichen Stream. Wir schauen uns heute die Xbox, also den Xbox Podcast an. Ich habe keine Ahnung, was da auf uns zukommen wird. Bin sehr gespannt. So. Hallo, Hallöchen. So, ich hoffe, es geht euch allen gut. Genau, Xbox hat angekündigt, dass die heute ein kleines... Hi Johnny, willkommen im Stream. Ich hoffe, dir geht's gut. Xbox hat angekündigt, dass die heute ein Video hochladen, ein Podcast. Ich habe schon mal in deren Podcast-Format reingeschaut. Das ist tatsächlich so ein Video-Podcast-Ding. Es ist kein Livestream, was ich ziemlich verwunderlich finde. Wo haben wir es denn? Das war hier auf jeden Fall. LOL, Party Animals, Cult of the Lamp? Das wusste ich nicht. Genau, dass die halt ein paar Infos droppen bezüglich Neuerungen, was die Xbox etc. angeht. Und man munkelt ja schon lange, dass das der Xbox gerade nicht so gut geht. Und deswegen wird vermutet, dass es einige Spiele vielleicht auch auf Third Party schaffen werden. Das ist ja voll cool. Ja, ich habe Party Animals noch nie gespielt. Ist ja, glaube ich, so ein Gangbeast-Ding. Vielleicht habe ich jetzt mal einen Grund, da reinzuschauen. Genau, ist halt so ein Podcast-Format, so wie so eine Talkshow. Na, ich glaube, die hatten auch irgendwo eine Playlist damit. Naja, werden wir gleich sehen. Um 21 Uhr sollte das Ding online geschalten werden. Ich finde es interessant, dass es tatsächlich kein Livestream wird. Hallo Mike, schönen guten Abend. Ich hoffe, dir geht's gut. Skate muss nachher Essen holen, bin leider nur etwas demotiviert. Was Essen holen angeht, wo gehst du denn Essen holen? Genau, mein Wunsch wäre es natürlich, ich besitze eine Xbox One noch, ja, das ist jetzt nicht die aktuellste Konsole. Bin jetzt aber auch gar nicht so im Xbox-Kosmos vertreten, dass ich unbedingt eine neue bräuchte, eine Series oder also eine Series X oder Series S. Dementsprechend wäre ich ganz happy, wenn sowas wie wenn ein paar Third-Party-Spiele tatsächlich auf andere Plattformen kommen, insbesondere für PlayStation. Ich meine, mit Ori hatten wir schon ein Microsoft Studio Spiel für andere Konsolen. Und Minecraft ja sowieso. Bin mal gespannt. Es wird ja gemunkelt. Sea of Thieves würde sich ja ganz gut anbieten. Ich hole mir Essen mit Too Good To Go von einem asiatischen Buffet. Oh, lecker. Bin froh, wenn meine 360 noch läuft. Ja, das ist doch immerhin etwas. 360 auch ein schönes Ding. So, ich aktualisiere mal. Das Bild sollte auch im Vollbild gleich erscheinen, sobald wir uns das Video anschauen. Bin sehr gespannt. So eine Rare Replay Collection für die Switch oder auch für die PlayStation wäre cool. Generell so ein paar kleinere Sachen. Ich hoffe, dass Insomniacs, wie heißt es? Sunset Overdrive für die PlayStation rauskommt, gerade weil Insomniac gehört ja auch mittlerweile zu Sony. Und ja, sowas wie Hi-Fi Rush oder so wäre auch cool. Okay. Es ist da. Wir haben 0 Uhr. Nicht 0 Uhr. 21 Uhr. Aber ich sehe hier noch nichts. Genau, also so ein paar kleine Titel wären da schon ganz cool. Ich hoffe, das läuft doch hier auf der Seite. bin gespannt, was sie mit dem Game Pass machen. Ja, same. Also das könnte halt wirklich interessant werden. Ne, hier ist es auch noch nicht. Ich schaue gerade mal, Phil Spencer hat was auf Twitter gepostet. Mit einem aber auch nur mit einem Link zum Talk selbst. Also zur YouTube-Seite selbst. Aber da kam jetzt auch nichts Neues. Da ist er. 20 Minuten. Wir gehen rein. Ich bin sehr gespannt, Leute. Sehr gespannt. Sag mir gerne, ob es zu laut oder zu leise ist. Gleich, wenn es losgeht. Sehr gespannt.
Hello and welcome to the official Xbox podcast. I'm your host, Tina Amini, and we have a very special episode today, as you can probably tell by the fact that I'm joined by Phil, Sarah, and Matt. Welcome. And we're going to talk about some updates at Xbox. We want to talk about game exclusivity. We want to talk about Activision Blizzard now that they're part of our portfolio, how that might be an impact on Game Pass. And we want to talk about hardware too and how all of this fits into the strategy at Xbox. So where should we start, Phil?
Well, when we originally had planned for the show, starting back in December, I think we probably would have started with Activision Blizzard, maybe talked a little bit about the exclusivity with some of the news coming up, and then hardware. But we've had some unforeseen news that has come out. So let's just go and tackle the exclusivity question, because I know it's on the minds of a lot of people. We hear from the community, and that's an important input for us.
Jetzt bin ich gespannt.
We made the decision that we're going to take 4 games to the other consoles. Just 4 games.
Nur
Not
4
a
Spiele.
change to our kind of fundamental exclusive strategy. We're making these decisions for some specific reasons. We make every decision really with the long-term health of Xbox in mind. And long-term health of Xbox means a growing platform, our games performing, building the best platform for creators, reaching as many players.
COD muss Multiplattform bleiben, das funktioniert sonst nicht anders.
And to grow, and we think this is an interesting point in time for us to use what some of the other platforms have right now to help grow our franchises. So we're going to do that.
So these 4 titles, what are they? Can you say?
I'm not going to name those games. The teams that are building those games have
Warum?
announced plans that are not too far away. As we know, game teams put a lot of energy into their announcements with the partners. So I don't want to take anything away from those teams. So I won't be talking about the titles specifically, but I think when they come out, it'll make sense.
Can we say if either of those titles are Starfield or Indiana Jones?
They are not Starfield or Indiana Jones.
Okay.
What is the criteria in
Okay,
how the
Starfield
team is
war
thinking about
tatsächlich auch
selecting
ein
those
großes
four
Gerücht die
Let me
ganze
start
Zeit.
a little bit outside of that, and then I'll
Schade
get
mit
to the
Indie,
4
ehrlich
specific
gesagt.
games that we're talking about right now. Because the fundamental decision driver for any decision that we make, anything we're going to talk about today, is the long-term health of Xbox. That we're running a growing platform that is reaching more players, that our games are having as much success as possible. And I do have a fundamental belief that over the next 5 or 10 years, exclusive games that are exclusive to one piece of hardware, are going to be a smaller and smaller part of the game industry. And that's not some great insight, because if you look at the last 10 years and what the biggest games are today, it's a natural place.
Ich meine, außer Nintendo macht das ja niemand mehr. Sogar Sony macht mittlerweile PC-Releases.
You see big games landing on multiple platforms, and we want to be a great platform for creators that are trying to realize that potential. But now back to the specifics of the question on these four specific titles. We looked at games that are over a year old, so they've been on Xbox and PC for a while. A couple of the games are community-driven games.
Sea of Thieves.
New games that kind of first iterations of a franchise that have reached their full potential, I'd say, on Xbox and PC. There's always growth. Franchises that we obviously want to continue to invest in. Part of having the ability to continue to invest is that the businesses behind those franchises continue. We think it's important that these service-based games.
Sea of Thieves auf einer PlayStation wäre, glaube ich, der erste Rare-Titel auf Sonys Konsole.
So 2 of them kind of community-driven games that will end up on other platforms and give us the ability to continue to invest in them. We think that's
Nee, es geht ja
great for the communities.
Es geht ja Microsoft, Activision Blizzard.
I'd say 2 of the other games are smaller games that were never really meant to be built as kind of platform exclusives and all the fanfare that goes around that, but games that our teams really wanted to go build, that we love supporting creative endeavors.
Crash Spyro?
Regardless
Das
of
wäre
the
geil.
size. And as they've realized their full potential on Xbox and PC, we see an opportunity to utilize the other platforms as a place to just drive more business value out of those games, allowing us to invest in maybe future iterations of those, so sequels to those, or just other games like that in our portfolio. And when we don't damage Xbox and we can grow our business using what other platforms have and to help us with that, we're going to do that. And that's really the story behind these 4 games. And last thing I'll say, looking forward, I think there is an interesting story for us of introducing Xbox franchises to players on other platforms to get them more interested in Xbox. We think there's a good brand value for Xbox there. So 4 games, no promise beyond that. So if you're on those other platforms and you see these 4 games coming, please don't take it as some signal that everything's coming. It's not. And we're going to learn.
So when you are thinking about the future and this concept of live service games, games that can
COD auf jeden
bigger
Fall.
audiences, new audiences, how does that apply to future titles and how you're applying that criteria there?
Yeah, there's really no fundamental change to how we think about exclusivity. We just came out of Developer Direct, which was an awesome show, where we showed great games that are coming to Xbox and PC and cloud, which really makes them accessible to hundreds of millions.
Hellblade 2 müsste auch auf die Xbox, auf die PlayStation kommen. Das wäre schon stark. Gerade weil der erste Teil ja auch verfügbar dort ist.
But our key of play the games you want with the people you want, anywhere you want, when everybody plays, we all win. These have been part of our strategy for years and will continue to be. Our focus is on how do we continue to grow the games industry by reaching more players in more places, and how do we grow Xbox as part of that. Xbox is a hardware platform, Xbox is a publisher of great games, and Xbox as a platform for the world's best creators.
And then knowing that, how do we think about our first-party games and Game Pass?
Yeah, well, to build on what Phil just said, one thing I would add, as you were talking about growth, is just that we've sort of seen this inversion over the last 5 years where it used to be that the platform was the biggest thing.
That's right.
And the games would sort of tuck in within the platform. Today, big games like a Roblox or a Fortnite could actually be bigger than any one platform.
Yeah,
and that really has changed the way that we think about things. So in the midst of all that, I think we at First Party can come back to sort of some core principles. First, that all of our games will be on the Xbox platform. Second, all of our games will go into Game Pass on day 1. And third, we know that Game Pass will only be available on Xbox.
Oh,
So those sort of starting points for us. As Phil mentioned,
Okay, Game
there are
Pass
games
exclusive
today
weiterhin
you can play
für
that only can be found
Windows.
on Xbox. And at the same time,
Microsoft
we want to
Windows.
bring more of our games to more players. So we're going to continue to look at that. Kind of moving aside, though, from some of those and thinking more about what does it really mean for the player, to me, the 2 key things are cross-play and cross-save. Those things allow us to deliver on the promise of Xbox, which is play with your friends where they are, play on the devices you want, play the games you want. So that is really only possible at a practical level when you know that your saves and your player are going to be able to move across all those parts. So not all of our games today are necessarily built to take advantage of that. There still will be some games that don't. As we bring more teams into the Xbox family, there's some catch up to do as we get there. But that cross-play, cross-save is like so fundamental to what we're doing, and I think is something that we as First Party get such a good benefit from being so close to the platform.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's one of the things, like you said, all of our games are always in Game Pass. And so I'm excited to announce, with the coming together that we had with Activision Blizzard King, that Activision and Blizzard games are coming to Game Pass, starting with Diablo 4 on March 28th, which I'm super, super excited to share today.
Das war ja
And it's all
vorhersehbar.
part of our commitment to make the Xbox experience and the games that we build as widely available as possible. So now the 34 million Game Pass members can all enjoy the fantastic experience of Diablo 4.
Amazing. Can we come back to the point, Phil, you mentioned at the top, this isn't really a change in strategy for us. Can you recap for me how it isn't?
Yeah, and I thought both Matt and Sarah did a really nice job of talking about what we're doing on Xbox, where we're going. You know, if you take a platform feature like Xbox Play Anywhere, which has been a promise that we've made on our first-party games. That you can buy
Xcloud wäre halt geil für
platforms,
andere
play
Konsolen,
across
also
Xbox
dass man es
and
einfach
Windows.
rüberstreamen
Think of any
könnte.
platform that
Gerade
does
für die
this,
Switch oder so.
that makes it possible for you
Ja,
not
sehr
only
geil.
to play with your
Yep.
friends wherever they are, but to know that you actually have multiple entitlements to the games. I think that's a technology I would love to see applied to more platforms. But it is this view that people are going to play Xbox in multiple places. Whether it's play the games you want with the people you want, anywhere you want, whether it's content community in cloud, whether it's when everybody plays.
Oh, jetzt die
well
Switch,
together.
komm.
We've had different taglines, different strategy, kind of words that we've used, but always with this view that Xbox is a platform for creators who want to reach the most players. Our investments in xCloud, our investments in franchises like Minecraft and now Call of Duty and other large franchises so that we learn how to build those. This has been a strategy that we've been on for, I'd say, a decade. It's not about one device. It's not about games in service of a device, but rather the devices that people want to play on should be in service of making the games as big and popular as they possibly could be. Because really a healthy creator community on Xbox, a healthy creator community in gaming all up is the thing that all of us as game players should be voting for, because that's the thing that will lead to the best long-term success and growth in this industry.
And my understanding, just from listening and learning from you three over the past few weeks, just understanding what's happening with Xbox, is that we see trends with player behavior where people are playing on multiple devices. That is the reality. And we have put some games out on multiple platforms before. So my understanding is that that's been good for players. How does that come back to the business with all of that in mind?
Yeah, as you said, we have shipped games on other platforms. In fact, realistically, if you look with the addition of Activision and Blizzard and ZeniMax, we're one of the largest game publishers on PlayStation. We're one of the largest publishers on the Nintendo Switch, especially when you put Minecraft into the equation as well. And now we're one of the largest publishers on mobile platforms as well. And that's
Ja,
something that we want to back
aufgekauft,
away from.
aber.
We want to continue to be building great games that millions
Aber er hat schon
of people
PlayStation
can
und Switch
love,
gedroppt,
and
also
that they can play
Name
those
Drops sind
games
schon mal
wherever
da.
they want to go play. But we do
Oh,
understand
Retro-Sachen
the
würden so
business success
reichen.
that Xbox has to have.
Paar alte Classics.
Us as leaders in this business, the system today, the system that all companies that we play video games from, is a world of you got to be growing your business. Growth in our Xbox business is critical to the long-term health of Xbox. Many people know I've been on Xbox for over 20 years, and I want to make sure Xbox is in the best position for the next 20 years. That means healthy player community, healthy creator community, and healthy business. So when we look at opportunities to allow more people to play, more people to engage, more people to buy, more people to subscribe, it's all about putting Xbox in the best position. And our hardware is a critical component of that. The absolute best experience somebody has on Xbox is hardware that your team builds and that people play on. But that's not going to be everybody. We fully accepted that we're going to have Xbox players across all kinds of devices.
So I think a lot of people think about 2023 as this incredible year for gaming. And in a lot of ways it was. There were some really amazing releases that I think we all enjoyed. But what were the signals behind the scenes that maybe indicated how we wanted to look at the future of Xbox and how we kind of keep up with the industry?
Yeah, such a good question. And I think it's, as people who care about the industry, which I assume is people who are watching this, it was an amazing year. Some great launches, some of the games that I think will stand the test of time and people will be talking about a decade from now. But it's an industry that didn't really grow. And what happens when an industry doesn't grow? You end up with some job eliminations, which we had. We had even our own hard decisions to make about building a sustainable business for ourselves, but in no way were we alone in that. When you think about a healthy industry, I want players who believe that they will find the best games on the platforms that they love. I want people who invest their careers in working here to feel like this is a place that they can be successful. And that really is down to being part of an industry that is growing. If you listen to Lisa Su, the AMD CEO, she'll say that AMD-powered consoles are likely to decline in 2024. I think there's an amazing set of games coming in 2024, but if we don't get to growing as an industry, the industry will struggle. And today there's really two choices on how do you grow the industry. Do you say I have a fixed number of players, the players that we have today, and do I find new ways to monetize those players to get more money from the players that I have? Or do you think about how do I expand the business I have by finding new players and adding those to the base of players that already play? Our focus on Xbox for the last decade has really been on that latter point of how do we make sure Xbox is growing for our players, growing for our creators, so those people are finding success on our platform, which will grow the Xbox business and put Xbox in a position to be very strong for years and decades to come.
Matt, earlier you were talking about these growing gaming communities, how they're incredibly large and comparable on such a different level when we think about console audiences. Like you mentioned Roblox, you mentioned Fortnite. So how are we're obviously thinking about our responsibility, our hardware responsibility is supporting the growth of gaming communities. How has that actually shown up for the players? Are there other games we can speak to from our portfolio?
Well, as Phil mentioned, I mean, two of the biggest ones for us, Call of Duty and Minecraft, I mean, they are driven just from the bottom up by the communities of people that play those games, which is so great. I think about it for the player community, it comes down to where are the friends, where are the people you play with, and then equally important is where have you built up your library of games, right? Where have you invested? Where's that library? I think those two things probably are some of the biggest influences on where people choose to play and what devices they choose to play.
Yeah.
When we think about, on the other side, the developer side, just any game developer wants their game to find the biggest audience possible. That's just the nature of building a game. You want people to enjoy and participate in what you've made. And I think we're in a unique position to deliver on that just because we are the platform. We build hardware, we've got a first-party games group, and then we've got a system that ties that together, that brings together your friends, your progression, your achievements, all of that. And I think that's really what has contributed to the momentum behind some of these communities.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, when you look at, just step back and you look at the history of the industry, we've moved from a place where it used to be that someone built and launched a game to accelerate hardware to actually
Also bis jetzt
we
recht
do with our
unspannend, ehrlich
hardware and with
gesagt.
our
Also
platform are all in service of making those
keine
games bigger.
großartigen
And
Infos.
we think about that across all of the investments we make, the consoles we build, the investments we do with things like cross-play, cross-progression, the things that we're doing with cloud. How do we actually give more options to game creators so they can have the greatest success? I think one of the fun recent examples about this is actually Power World. You know, Power World was able to launch, they were a game preview, they launched in Game Pass, they also simultaneously launched in Steam. And through the combination of those things, you know, Pocket Pair was able to have this outsized success, and it was the largest third-party Game Pass launch ever. And that's all because we give creators options on how they can launch their games. We've got subscription.
Ja, sie erklären echt viel, aber nichts wirklich Wichtiges. Power World als Beispiel, das ist halt, ohne den Pokémon-Aspekt wäre das auch total uninteressant für die Leute.
The highest level of users on console, the highest level of users on PC, the highest level of users on cloud ever. We have double-digit growth rate on PC and cloud, places where we're enabling creators to actually reach
Selbstbeweihräucherung.
beyond the console ecosystem.
Hey, Nati, was geht? Was geht?
We see all those signals.
So we're talking about the role that hardware plays for creators, for the games and those communities. What about the role that hardware plays for us as a business, for Xbox?
When we look at our hardware, it really is, and Phil said this earlier, it's where you get like the most flagship seminal experience of Xbox. And it also represents a developer target. Our developers can build the specs of our hardware, and we invest to make sure they know when they do that the games are going to run great on our hardware, but they're also going to be able to be accessed across any screen because of all the other investments we make. So we're giving them an easy way to access as many players as possible. And we actually have more creators right now building for Xbox than ever before by nature, thousands of them by nature of those investments. And we got more to come. There's some exciting stuff coming out in hardware that we're going to share this holiday. And we're also investing in the next generation roadmap. And what we're really focused on there is delivering the largest technical leap you will have ever seen in a hardware generation, which makes it better for players and better for creators and the visions that they're building.
And then when we're talking about hardware too, there's these other considerations that are really important to our community, probably to each one of ourselves as well. When you talk about library, because I want to dig in on that a little bit more. You know, as we talk about cloud in the wider entertainment industry, there's conversations about streaming. How is that impacting how I own my content that I've invested in? So what can we say about our stance around game preservation?
Yeah, you know, one of the highlights for me of being in this position was getting to stand on stage when we announced back compat coming to Xbox One. Like, it was fantastic. People were reading the teleprompter before I could read it. I'm a slow reader, and just feeling the energy in the auditorium as we were saying that and online. You know, one of the cues I think us as being part of Microsoft take is looking at Windows and how Windows
Ja, das Ding müsste gleich zu Ende sein, ne?
has maintained software compatibility.
Noch 3
that are
Minuten,
built on it.
Leute.
Like, I can still go back and play some of the games that I love playing on Windows from
Können
10
noch
years
hoffen.
ago, and it will still run. And we try to bring that same view to consoles. It's harder in console because the line between what the hardware is and what the game
Also
is in
aktuell
consoles is traditionally
viel Selbstbeweihräucherung, keine großen
makes
Infos.
compatibility. You end up doing these
Nichts, was man
generational
nicht schon geahnt hat, ehrlich
compatibility
gesagt.
But I will say compatibility, the ability to not only play the games, but my saves are still there with our cloud save systems to try to keep the services up as long as we can so that people can play, is a tenet of what we are as Xbox. It's at our foundation. And when we look at future hardware generations and what we're going to support, making sure that we respect, which is the word I use, respect the investments that people have made in Xbox going forward is fundamental. And the fact that you get entitlements when you buy a game from us on both Windows and Xbox also means you have the ability to play that game across a multitude of devices, which I think furthers the compatibility of the games that you own.
Can we go back to what Xbox stands for today? I think we've pretty much covered all of the elements, but if you could break it down for me.
You know, when you play on Xbox, what we're saying is you're playing on a platform where you know the biggest games in the world are always going to be. You're playing on a platform where you get to access Game Pass. And all of the games from our incredible range of studios will always launch in Game Pass day one. And you're playing on a platform that's dedicated to you, like player-first features, cross-play, cross-save, cross-progression, backwards compatibility, being able to play your games in your library anywhere you want because of the investments that we make in cloud gaming. And so you're playing somewhere where you're investing and you know you get to take the games forward with you and across all of the screens where you are. And I think most importantly, Xbox is a place where you know when you're investing in Xbox, you're investing somewhere that is dedicated to making games more successful and creators more successful so that they can invest more to bring even better experiences to you all of the time.
Yeah, just that investment in the studios is so, and we feel that as part of first party with the platform proximity. You know, it's kind of amazing now to look out across all the studios that we've got and just be reminded that we're now one of the biggest development organizations in the industry. What does that mean for players? It means that the biggest games are going to continue to come to Xbox. And
was ist das
this
hier?
2024, the year coming up, we've got more than 10 major releases coming up. Great stuff. Hellblade 2. We've got Diablo expansion. We've got Avowed, Ara, the Indiana Jones game. And there's more in development, which I think we're going to be able to share more about at our June showcase coming up pretty soon.
Well, I guess I should get ready to work on that show. Well, thank you all for showing up on the podcast
Okay,
today,
das war's.
and we'll see the rest of you this June.
Yeah.
Thanks, Tina.
Thank you.
Das war's. Was ist das denn jetzt hier? Also das war's. Boah. Heavy. Also. Das war mega lame. Das war richtig lame. Ich mach mal ein bisschen Musik an, dann können wir das Gesehene nochmal gerade besprechen. Absolute Selbsthilfegruppe, ja. Also, das war ja nix. Das war ja nichts. Das war Selbstbeweihräucherung, sich die ganze Zeit selber auf die Schulter geklopft, wie groß, wie toll, wie cool wir doch sind. Es war echt. Da war ja eigentlich nichts, ne? Also 4 Spiele von Activision Blizzard werden auf Multiplattformen erscheinen. Da ist natürlich COD mit gemeint, wahrscheinlich auch Diablo, der auch sehr erfolgreich gewesen auf PS3 und 4. Was könnte man noch meinen? Overwatch. Spielt das überhaupt noch jemand? Overwatch 2. Und keine Ahnung, was das nächste ist. Also, ich habe ja gehofft, dass da wenigstens irgendwas gedroppt wird. Gerade bezüglich, die haben ja erzählt, dass auch Xbox First-Party-Spiele, die haben ja sehr oft den Vergleich genommen zu Roblox oder Minecraft, Fortnite, die einfach Multiplattformen existieren und das extrem erfolgreich ist und dementsprechend auch gerne gesehen bei den Spielerinnen und Spielern. Dementsprechend frage ich mich halt, warum die es nicht gedroppt haben. Wenigstens 1, 2 Titel. Ich kann mir vorstellen, dass der Stream mehr oder weniger dafür jetzt da war, beziehungsweise das Video. Das ist ja wirklich ein festes Format von Xbox, diesen Podcast-Gedöns. Also das, was die da besprochen haben, hätte auch gut in einen Tweet gepasst. Das Video geht unter etwas über den hellblauen Rahmen. Ah jo, du hast recht. Du hast recht. Ja, fix ich zum nächsten Mal. Das, aber ja, true. Minimal. Ja. Dementsprechend weird. Genau, ich glaube, die wollten halt Gerüchte aus der Welt schaffen. Die wollten halt, es wird aktuell ja sehr viel gemunkelt und gemutmaßt, dass der Game Pass eventuell auch auf andere Plattformen kommt, dass Xbox jetzt generell tot ist und so weiter, also was Hardware angeht. Und ich kann mir halt vorstellen, dass sie damit das ein bisschen aus der Welt schaffen wollten. Hätte auch theoretisch in einen Tweet gepasst oder in ein kurzes Video. Ich weiß ja nicht. Meine Erwartungen waren da definitiv höher, gerade weil das so hochgeschaukelt wurde die ganze Zeit. Und weil Phil Spencer Phil Spencer höchstpersönlich sitzt da. Der ist nicht in jedem dieser Podcasts dabei. Und wenn der oberste Xbox-Chef da schon mit drin sitzt, ja, hätte einiges heute angekündigt werden können. Ist nicht passiert. Ist auch nicht schlimm. Per se, weil es geht so weiter, wie es die ganze Zeit schon war. Xbox sind die größten auf diversen Plattformen. Das haben sie nochmal untermalt. Und ja. Ich glaube, das war auch einfach nochmal eine kleine Werbeveranstaltung für die Konsolen selbst. Ja, der Game Pass ist krass. Der Game Pass ist richtig krass, richtig nice. Ich habe aktuell PlayStation Plus Premium und muss halt sagen, der ist nicht im Ansatz so geil wie der Game Pass. Im Game Pass kommt wirklich jedes First-Party-Spiel Day One rein. Das ist schon cool. Und gerade weil First-Party halt mittlerweile bei Xbox so ein Riesenportfolio ist. Gerade aber wenn die davon sprechen, dass wir ja so viele Unternehmen aufgekauft haben, denke ich so oft an die Unternehmen, die einfach gar nicht mehr benutzt werden. Und dann trauere ich denen immer ein bisschen nach. Naja, ich denke, das soll es an der Stelle gewesen sein. Kleine Live-Reaction hier zu diesem Podcast. Wenn sich sowas in Zukunft nochmal anbieten sollte, denke ich, mache ich das nochmal. Finde ich eigentlich ganz cool, da meinen Senf zu beizutragen. Hier, ja. Hätten wir jetzt alle nichts verpasst, hätten wir es uns nicht angeguckt. Dementsprechend würde ich mich jetzt von euch verabschieden. Vielen Dank fürs Zuschauen und bis zum nächsten Mal. Ciao, Leute. Ich hab noch ein falsches Stream ist zu Ende Bild, dementsprechend nicht wundern. Ciao. Jetzt ist es richtig. Tschüss.